like we have last time mentioned, they evolve because the software itself is iterative. We mentioned that the software development process is an iterative social interaction process as such, social interactive process. So in that sense, software also can evolve. So we'll see these two models which provide us a concept, or can guide us what kind of a evolutionary process will take place for building a software model, a software process, a software product, etc. So the first, we are having prototyping model. So you see here, this is typically like we have seen the evolutionary process model. The same is there. Like you start with the communication. So when communication is there, obviously you talk with the customer and you take from the customer what exactly he wants. Okay. But the thing is, this is a specific case we mentioned. The customer is aware of what he wants to build. He has a problem for which he wants a software solution. However, he is not aware about the exact requirements or exact functionalities that will be there in the product. So in that case, we mentioned that the development team can go for a prototyping model. And what happens here is the team will try to build something. So they understand abstractly that the customer wants some kind of a product, some kind of a software system to be built to solve a problem. So they understand the basic requirements, some requirements as such, okay, not exact requirements, not all requirements, but something they come to know that there's something like this the customer wants. So they prepare a quick plan based on this earlier communication, model this or provide a quick design and build the first prototype. So this first prototype, like we mentioned, the purpose of this prototype is to understand or to give a kind of a glimpse to the customer that this is how the software will look like. Is this the same way you want it? Is this the kind of a software you want for solving your problem? So if he says yes, then you can go for subsequent things. Okay. So construction of a prototype and your delivery, deployment, delivery, and feedback. So deliver to the customer and ask him, this is what you would like to have. So once he sees that, okay, so we say seeing is believing. So he sees the software. Now he sees that, okay, my problem is getting solved. Okay, there is some software solution is there. Now, now once you provide him some kind of information, okay, this is the login screen. After that, we'll have this kind of functionalities. Do you want this kind of functionalities? So if now is the point, he will tell, okay, this is what I want. Okay? If that is not the case, then you can change. Okay. So now the requirements will become more and more clear. Okay? More and more clear. The requirements will become. So that's what we have mentioned. We can use the prototyping pattern whenever you have requirements unclear. So we have seen a process pattern which mentioned that we have some requirements which are not clear requirements. Customer is not aware of the exact or little requirements, or all requirements, all functionalities are not known to the customer. So in that case, we can use a prototyping model, okay, which is evolutionary in sense. So what it serves is, so if you see here that this is what we have mentioned in the patterns also, it helps to identify software requirements. Okay? So it's a mechanism. It's you can take it as a process also to identify software requirements, because you are giving something to the customer, he is seeing. So once he sees, he will start visualizing the other aspects of the system. So that's where prototyping will function. Okay. So prototyping can serve as a first system. Okay. Why first system we are seeing? Because as was mentioned, this prototyping may be converted into the final product, or the prototype may be discarded. Okay. So it can be called as a throwaway. The first prototype, which was just for the sake of creating some kind of understanding between customers or stakeholders, that this is what we're going to build. So once that understanding comes, we may feel or we may see that these functions, the customer has understood the functionalities. Now he can tell us the requirements, but whatever is there in the prototype are not the requirements that he has. So in that case, obviously we're going to throw away. Other reason maybe the prototype was being just built for the purpose of giving understanding. It has no other say documentation or any other concrete plans or concrete models are not built for this, because they were quickly designed. quickly quick plan was there, quick design was there, quick construction was there, and very less testing might have been performed. So because of this, the prototype is not a concrete prototype. Okay? So it's not an increment. It's just a prototype which cannot be used for a subsequent additions. Okay? So in that case, you can just remove it. In cases where you see that yes, these are the requirements in the prototype, which are also being asked by the customer now, and customer is agreeing that yes, these are the requirements, and you keep these requirements and additionally add more requirements. So he will provide you more requirements. So in that kind of a cases, this same prototype can evolve. That's why we are saying it's evolutionary, will evolve into the complete product. So what will happen is, in the earlier prototype, you will keep on adding, adding. So increments will be provided with every delivery. Okay? So every delivery. So we'll be going through the same cycle. So cycle will be done. Okay? So this cycle is there. So every cycle, every delivery will see that there is an increment, which is a concrete increment, which is provided to the customers. Okay. So with every delivery we mentioned, there will be a positive increment. Okay. So in that case, we are refining the existing functionalities and we are adding new functionalities. That's why we say we are incrementing the software. Okay. So it's evolving in every stage, in every cycle. So both stakeholders and software engineers like the prototype paradigm because it makes both the parties understand. Both the parties are happy in that case, okay? Because regularly you give them the increments, you regularly provide them newer, and customer provides you the newer requirements. So you are getting these things that our existing work is accepted and new work is coming up. Okay, so that work is on top of the previous work. So that helps the developers also to get a confidence that okay, whatever we're building is correct, we're on right path. And stakeholders are also happy because they are seeing the product. Yes, something is being built, I'm getting something to use as such with every increment. So in that sense, both parties are happy. That's why they say they like the prototyping paradigm. Some problems being faced here. Stakeholders see the working version. Okay? Software quality and maintainability is not considered here. Okay? So what stakeholders are looking for every time is working version. Okay? Quality and maintainability is not considered because the complete software is not ready. Along with that, with every increment, the software engineers may not be checking for all software quality requirements because they just want to provide the prototype to the customer. And in the prototyping, it may happen that every time all the quality requirements like security, reliability, availability may not be checked. So that may be a case. So software quality and maintainability is not considered with this prototyping model. Second is software engineer often makes implementation compromises because he wants quick delivery. So when he's giving some quick delivery, he may do some kind of say compromises while coding, while implementing these requirements, because he knows that he's a prototype. Next time I can add something, because he has a hope of creating a next prototype, and obviously he knows that next prototype will definitely come. I'm going to create a next prototype, so he keeps something for the next. Okay, even if he's supposed to complete that functionality within this prototype itself, he may provide just a glimpse of it, or may just provide a working version of it, may not completely implement that functionality. Okay? So in that case, he is making some compromises. Okay? So these are the issues with this prototyping model. Obviously, which can be resolved as the product goes into final stages. These things can also be resolved. The second is the spiral model. So spiral model, if you see the functionality of this spiral model, the name comes like because it's again in the spirals as such. Okay, the next slide will show you that there are some spirals. Okay, better first to have a look at it, and then it becomes easier for us to understand also. So this is spirals. Okay, so what you are seeing is there are phases. These are our framework activities. Yeah? Communication, then planning, modeling, construction, and deployment. These are our 5 framework activities. Okay, so with every spiral, So you see, we are starting from this point. We start from here and we complete activities, communication, then planning, then modeling, then construction, and then deployment. Okay. So this is done. So one spiral is over. Okay. One iteration is over. Okay. Now when one iteration is over, then you go for the next iteration. Again you communicate, again you plan, again you model, construct. So we are doing again here increment wise. Our software is evolving. Okay. So what is happening here is similar to your prototyping model. However, we are not uh, uh, we are not discarding the existing version as such. Existing version remains. Okay. We keep on adding into it. Okay. So this combines the iterative nature of prototyping with the controlled and systematic aspect of the waterfall model, because we are having one spiral. So in that one spiral, we are going sequentially. Okay. So for some requirements, okay, we can say for some requirements, we perform communication, planning, modeling, construction, and deployment. So these activities are done in sequential manner for one increment. So it's taking advantage of both the things. That's what we are saying. It's combining these two things together. Okay? Prototyping model and waterfall model. That's how it helps us to create this model. Okay? Second is it provides the potential for rapid development also, because it will be creating increments again. Okay? So we'll have increments. So first we can have core requirements, then we can have additional requirements, then again we can have more requirements. So likewise we can go for step by step. We can keep on adding more and more functionalities, and we can create increments. We can provide increments in every spiral. Okay? So in that case, it is helping for rapid development also. Okay? A spiral development model is risk-driven process model generator that is used to guide multi-stakeholder concurrent engineering of software-intensive system. This is more important because what is happening here is risk-driven process model. Why? Because it may happen that now you need to provide early versions of software in the market so that you can capture some of the customers, or some of the market segment can be captured if you provide the early models. So in that case, it's risk-driven. You have to check whether my product will be accepted or not. So instead of investing on the entire product, you first provide the basic functionalities or core functionalities. If that is accepted, now you know that the customers are ready to use your product. So based on how many customers have used and your expectations of the number of customers using this software, if it is matches, then okay, you can go for, okay, now we can go for the next spiral. So you can invest more. If in the first phase itself we identify that no, the customers are not accepting this product of ours, so in that case there is no point in investing more in that case. So in that case, whatever the risk was there, it's not for entire part, it's only for the first spiral itself. So you know that this part is accepted by the customers or not accepted by the customers. Okay. So in that case, it is going to help you. So we can use spiral model in that case. So it also helps you for concurrent engineering too, because in one spiral, if one spiral is done, you can go for building of systems which are concurrently being built. That also is possible. So one is a cyclic approach in this. So what do I say is it has two main distinguishing features. One is cyclic approach for incrementally growing a system's degree of definition and implementation while decreasing its degree of risk, because you know that product is accepted. So with every spiral, you are having more and more acceptability. So you are reducing the risk of unacceptability. You are reducing the risk that whether customers are going to use it or not using it, because you know now you have some number of customers which you have thought of. So in that case, you can go ahead with the subsequent spiral, subsequent increments you can build. Other is a set of anchor point milestones for ensuring stakeholder commitment to feasible and mutually satisfactory system solutions. So other is this anchor point milestones, whether we are achieving the milestones or not. Okay. So with every spiral, you can put up an anchor point. Okay. If we have achieved this, that's meaning we are solving the problem. Now it's up to the stakeholders to what level they want to take the product, say for various features, say for accuracy or others, or security or reliability. If they agree, okay, now this is sufficient for us to use, At that point of a time, they will tell, okay, now stop the subsequent iterations, or subsequent spiral can be stopped at that point itself. So that's anchor milestones. So this again is provided by Boehm. So if you see, the Boehm is one of the say main authors, you can say, or main say scientist, you can say software scientist, who has built or who has provided many definitions of software also. Who has provided the models too, and who is guiding the software engineering over a long period of a time. So that's other than the software model in that case that we can use. Okay.